Hello and welcome everybody to today's ZOLLER75 live session, Genius Reimagined, the evolution of perfection, for tool inspection technology. My name's Cody Mitchell and I'm the East Coast Territory Manager here at Zoller Incorporated. I'm going to be your host for the remainder of the day. First and foremost, I want to give a big thanks to all of you in the press, current customers, potential customers, and partners for tuning in today. What you see behind me, or what you're about to see, is a new product reveal for our Genius inspection machine. And for some of you who might not know what the Genius inspection machine is, it's always been a machine designed to very accurately measure cutting tool geometries. But, since the first Genius to this Genius that we're about to reveal today, we've come a long way in technology. Before we get to that point, I want to quickly explain a little bit about what ZOLLER75LIVE is. So, starting about last September, we celebrated Zoller's 75th anniversary. And we were very excited, and we wanted to come up with a way that we could show the solutions that Zoller has to provide to our customers. So we came out with these live stream events. We've done several in the past, we're going to do one today, and we're going to continue to do these so that we can help showcase the 4 core products that Zoller has to offer, which is of course tool management, tool presetting, automation, and of course tool inspection, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. So Zoller was founded 75 years ago by the grandfather of the 2 brothers that run the company now, Alexander and Christoph Zoller. And although they're very proud of the achievements over the past 75 years, it never lets them rest as to what's to come in the future. They're constantly planning, developing new technology, and of course, just as importantly, over the past 75 years, they really value the customers and the partners' input on how we can improve and what can we do to get better. So only with the help of customers and our partners can we do this. So a little bit about the portal before we get started. Up at the top, you're going to see a few tabs. Some are content tabs where we have application videos, product information, and also some tabs that you can dive a little bit deeper into the history of Zoller. Down below in the portal, you're going to see a chat function. Please feel free to take advantage of this, ask any questions, put any comments down there. I'm going to be popping in and off camera to ask these questions, and then I have two co-hosts that are going to be helping me with answering those questions. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first co-host, Werner Luken, and he is the director of our inspection. Werner?
Thank you, Cody. Welcome also from my side. I'm super happy to be here for the launch today. A few words about myself. My name is Werner, and I'm the director for Tool Inspection Solutions here at Zoller. I received an engineering degree from the University of Applied Science in Kiel, Germany. I've been here for 20 years. All those 20 years I've been on the road permanently. I had the privilege to work with many customers out there, help many customers, learn from those customers. Enough of that, let me talk about history at first. So it all started, in regards to inspection in the late 90s. That's when image processing came about. prior to that, basically all we had was comparators, projectors with digital readouts. But all of a sudden we were having camera systems with CNC control. And right away we programmed our own software called AWV back then. And then we thought, yeah, why not only make presetters, but why and look at full inspection of cutting tools. So that's when the first Genius came about. It was built on the presetter chassis, but already had 5 axes and was an open design. The next iteration was then basically in 2000. That's when we had our own fully self-designed control. Brought that to market. Next step then was 2002. I mean, that was a fully enclosed, purpose-built chassis for cutting tools. And with that, we reached a broader audience, and we were able to learn a lot, listened a lot. It was a very interesting time. And that culminated in 2007 into the Pilot 3.0 Genius. Everything we had learned until then went into that system, and it became a huge success. Over 1,200 were sold worldwide. Yeah, now 2021, we look at the next step of the evolution. And
yeah, I think we should dive into that right now.
Yeah.
So I would like to introduce Matt Brothers. He is our Industry 4.0 Tech Center Manager, and we would like to reveal to you the Genius Reimagined.
Hey, do it.
All right, so introducing our new ZOLLER Reimagined. So Matt, before we dive into some of the hardware and some of the new software on this machine, can you give the audience a little bit of your background and what applications or maybe what shops would benefit from a machine like the Genius?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Warner. Again, my name is Matt Brothers. I am the Industry 4.0 Tech Center Manager at ZOLLER. I have 20 years worth of experience in the manufacturing and inspection of specialty round cutting tools. I have a personal history with this machine. I grew up with it throughout my career. I've all the way from the Genius 2 to Saturn software, and now all the way to the latest and greatest of what we have to offer here. And I'll be honest with you, it is my absolute complete honor in order to present this machine to you today. Now, to kind of getting into what type of customers that will actually be utilizing this particular machine, first and foremost is going to be your cutting tool manufacturers. What they're going to want to do is they're going to want to be able to verify that their product can provide certification for the types of tools that they're shipping to their customers. Next is going to be in your regrind facilities, whether it's outside or also internal for end users who have 5-axis grinding machine capabilities. Because what they're going to want to do is use this machine in order to kind of duplicate a lot of the OEM specifications of what the tools they originally received. Another one could also be is your research and development companies, and also for your end users as well, as a good verification for incoming inspection of the tools to verify that they are to proper specifications.
Yeah, thanks for that, Matt. So I'm going to actually hop off screen here and let you get to it. I do want to remind you that chat function is down there. Although we're speaking to the camera, we want to try to make this as interactive as possible. So hit the chat function, and I'll be popping in and out of screen, Matt, to share some questions.
All right, cool. Thank you again, Cody. All right, yeah, so here's the new Genius. This is our new design. This is the nice new bold striking design that we're utilizing across our 3 new inspection machine platforms. Just right off the get-go, looking at the branding and the LEDs, it really kind of jumps right out at you. You're really proud to have this particular unit on your shop floor. Again, it's a design from the a redesign from the top, from the bottom to the top here. Taking a look at it as our Fpm Design Base. So, Fpm Design Base, what that's going to allow us to do is this is now a stiffer and now a heavier unit. Allows us to then speed up the axes, to therefore decreasing inspection time. Across the whole machine, you're going to see quite a few easy open panels for accessibility into different areas of the machine. So for example, if you need to get over to the left-hand side, we have a panel over here, and also a panel on the right-hand side too that can also be removed at a later time for automation. What I'd like to do is have you come with me over to the left-hand side of the machine. Then what I have you do is kind of take a look over at our electrical panel. Now this is a new design here. As you can see, it is now separated from the unit. What it does is gives us nice, easy accessibility to our IPC, PLC, and also here in our pneumatics as well. All right, so coming back over to the front of the machine, Another nice new design is that we have a new door. With your traditional customers, you can if you know that the door will actually move inside and outside of the cabin. So now this is a brand new design. The door is in here in the front. It is moved up and down here in a nice, smooth, easy operated fashion here due to the counterweight design that's inside there. And also, as you can see here, a very nice, comfortable, ergonomic handle. Okay. Now, inside of the machine, we do have some other updates as well. So what we have here are two pockets utilized for holding our tool post adapters. So this allows for simple and easy, quick, fast job changes from tool to tool. Also, to also help out with the setup as well, if you are utilizing as our hydraulic holder setup, we do offer bushing pockets on the left and right hand side. So if you do want to have all your inch and metric bushings at a hand's reach, you have that as well. Taking a look also inside the cabin is that we still have the same proven ACE spindle, all clamping element. So what that is going to allow us to do is to allow us to clamp different work holdings for the machine, whether it's you are measuring Cat 50 tools, or also if you are utilizing as our hydraulic adapter here as well. So that's easily inputted to lock into place, and now you're ready to go.
So Matt, I'm going to stop you there for a second. I do have a couple questions that come in. The one is, when you say any work or different work holding, does that mean any work holding? And also, I think a question that goes hand in hand is, can you measure grinding wheels in this machine?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, thank you for the question. So yeah, so as we come down to different styles of adapters for this spindle, we can clamp HSK tooling, we can clamp Capto. I mean, we have quite a few range of different adapters that are available to meet your work holding needs. Now, getting in over your grinding wheel question, so yes, we do have a lot of different adapters that will clamp the different mounting arbors of different grinding wheel grinding machine manufacturers. So we can measure just either the wheel pack or also the individual wheel here as well. Now, we do have special software that is available as well to provide your measurement needs on those grinding wheels, whether you either want to print out a label, or also you can do some data output to that particular 5-axis machine as well.
Great, Matt. So a question commonly asked by a customer is, because you can swap different tool holding systems, does this negatively impact any of the accuracies or the measurements on when you're measuring a tool?
Not with the Genius, because what we want to do is that we have software for it. It's called Wobble Compensation. Because what we want to do in this particular applications here is that we want to be able to make the tool the new reference point. So we want to concentrate on only measuring the cutting tool, not the whole assembly. So what the Wobble Comp is going to do is actually going to generate a new center line based upon the tool, and then eliminate any work holding that will be that could possibly influence any run-out measurements. So we're going to remove that. We're actually going to engineer it out of the equation.
Perfect, Matt. That's all the questions we have. So I'm going to hop back off.
Okay. So as I go through, and I'm going to go ahead and put the tool inside the spindle now. So what you can see, what you can't see here is that I am also pressing is our membrane keypad. We have new and large buttons. That is a new design. So I'll go ahead and clean that off. And also, another thing that is a nice new design here as well is going to be on the optics carrier. What we have here is a nice new, our new one-handed operating device. It is illuminated, so it really is a nice new comfortable design, so we can really kind of move the optic carrier into position in a nice comfortable fast fashion. Okay. Another thing that I do want to also mention here too is that for the adapters is that we also do offer more capacity for storage if you do have different an additional more than tool posts. We do offer storage in the front and also here on the left hand side. Over in the back there, so we do offer two 3D cameras that are available for different styles of tools, different sizes of tools. For this particular machine here, this is our Genius Standard, which just gives you a 200 power magnification to kind of dig into those rake angles, those clearance angles, margin widths, and whatnot. And we do also offer a 500 power magnification for micro tooling, so we can really get down into those small areas. One new design that offer that we do have as far as for our 2D cameras, for our shadow graph views here. We do offer 5 new megapixel cameras, one for smaller form tools, and then one with a larger field of view for For larger form tools, what we can do is that we can decrease the inspection time because we can capture more of the form. And this is all done with increased accuracy as well.
So Matt, real quick, I do have another question that came in. One very often asked. You say you have a micro camera. So what is the smallest tool? I'm gonna let you take that.
Yeah, good question. So when we get into the Micro Genius, our sweet spot for this particular machine is going to be 20 thousandths in diameter up to a ½ inch. But we have had success where we measure down to 3 thousandths, and then when we get into a lot of those 3D measurements, we've had very good success when going down into 15 thousandths in diameter. Okay, so stepping off to the left-hand side here of the machine, you can see another nice new design of what we have here is going to be our cockpit. It's this nice new rounded edge design here, very ergonomic, and we also have to accompany this, this hardware here is going to be our ever so popular large touchscreen monitor. And as a complete package, you know, you can be assured, and because this machine is now certified for compliance and also for safety. Cody, I don't know if we have any other questions at this moment in time. Okay, very good. Okay, so now what I would like to do is that I would like to bring to your attention is going to be the Power Pilot 4 software. So what you can see here on the screen here is that this is our new Pilot 4 interface. Right off the get-go, you're going to notice that a little bit different on the colors and the design, but you're going to notice that we have a larger field of view to kind of to really see those individual geometries. Another nice addition of what we have here is going to be our widgets. So these are going to be shortcuts for different menu items and modules and whatnot that are going to allow us to speed up the inspection process. Getting into the Pilot 4 software, what we do have here is that we do have different ways in order to save the tool. So after you're done with the programming of the inspection sequence, we can pull this data up within our database at a later time, and you can set this database for however you want. Whether it's, you know, you're going to be set it up for different styles of tools, customers, different operations, all are customizable for you. Okay. Now, kind of digging into what we have a lot of capacity as far as to measure a lot of 2D different geometries, and that's what we can do with our cutter shapes here. So taking a look into our cutter shapes, we have a lot of different options and whatnot in order to measure different geometries. But one thing that I like to bring up to customers here is what we have the ability, we actually listen to our customers. So, and that's where we come up with this cutter shape 238. This one here is really nice because what this is that it actually measures the tangency and mismatch of the radius on a corner. So as we had a lot of inquiries from our customers in order to kind of make this a nicer smooth line transition, and that's what we came up here with by developing that cutter shape. And even with all the amount of different cutter shapes that are available, if you do need to find out what exactly the process of that cutter shape will perform, we also have as a help button here that you can access to give you a good description as far as what will be performed at that action. Now also kind of getting into different ways to focus the tool, because you know you're going to have straight fluted tools, helical fluted tools, maybe a combination of both. And what we need to do is if you need to measure down into an exact gauge point on a diameter or at a specified length. And we can do that. We have a few different ways to focus the tool, whether it's also externally and also internally as well if you have any tree panning tools. And getting into the measurements, again, we're flexible enough, we're very universal in how we want to measure the tools to base it upon your process. It could be just as simple as performing a quick snap measurement to get you that angle or radius. It could be maybe you have a multi-fluted tool and you want to measure all the features on that tool and also include the runout, and do that with our Focus 360. Maybe you have a ball nose and maybe you have a little bit of runout in the edge, but you want to see exactly what the cutting envelope of that particular tool is going to be, and we can do that with our Chris 360 measuring mode. And then also for our grinding wheels as well, we do have as our Grind 360 measuring mode. So another thing that is special for our Pilot software is our measuring programs. Our measuring programs are basically what they are. These are mini macros that kind of help walk you through the process in order to measure particular features. Whether again it is maybe a ball nose radius, or maybe a snap gauge if you want to mimic the process to measure with a set of mics, or a occluded angle. If you have any DXF comparisons that you want to provide for your form tool. For grinding wheels, what you see here on the screen there. But the main thing that I kind of want to discuss here today is actually going to be with our measuring program 800, because that's what makes a genius a genius. Why do we want to utilize this process, or why do we want to use this measuring program? Because everybody out there, that they can grind a diameter, they can grind an angle, they can grind a radius. But what makes that tool unique to them is actually going to be the internals. It's going to be the rake angle, it's going to be the clearance, it's going to be the margin, all those other features that are really special for them, which makes your tool perform very well in the out into the manufacturing floor. Now, measuring program kind of breaks it down into 3 different areas. We measure in our chip space, which is our fluted area, on the circumference, which is the OD, and then also on your end teeth as well. So taking a look into the interface here, is that, so when I select my chip space, you're going to see something really nice here. So not only do we have a large range of amount of different options that are available to measure here, but as we place the mouse over those particular features, you're going to see that this is a very picture-driven software. So it really gives you a good idea of what tasks are going to be performed at that moment in time. So in this case here, we are actually going to be measuring is a 2-flute center cutting end mill. So what you'll see when we do get into the measurement over the lower right-hand corner of the software is that you're going to see that measurement being performed live. Taking a look into our circumference here, one beautiful thing about this is that we have a reference point that can be distinguished off of the OD, which is going to be our focus. This is extremely important because if your process says for you to dictate to measure features on center, well, so where we can rotate that tool to center, that's what the focus is going to do. Especially very important for when you are accompanying this with your rake angle measurement. We can measure as our helix angle is what we're going to take care of here. We're going to be measuring as a radial relief angle, and this can also be done either with a faceted grind or eccentric relief. Both ways can be measured with this machine very simply. We can measure different ways of measuring a primary land width or a margin. As you can see here on the software, we provide 2 different ways. So if your process either says for you to measure directly across the margin, you can do so, or even parallel to the helix as well. So we also have here, as what we're going to check here is going to be our land width on this particular model, or on this particular tool, excuse me. And then we actually kind of dive into is the end teeth tab here. So what we're going to be doing here is that we're going to be utilizing is our cutting edge alignment. This is what's going to be important for your gash end mills. So if you want to use the gash as your reference to level that off for accompanying measurements. If you want to use it for straight fluted tools to give you that head or behind center value. Let's just say if you're going through and you're grinding high performance drills, and your alignment is to take the OD and also the rounding radius and level that off in order to measure your chisel angle. This will allow you to give you that proper reference. And also we do have some other customers that utilizes our HP alignment, which will then take basically your point to point and align those 2 points on center to give you that measurement. I know there are some other customers out there that utilize that for your axial relief angle measurements on a drill point. And also an example here, again for our end mill, we're going to be measuring the primary clearance angle and also the axial land width. And then because it is center cutting, I am also going to be measuring the long tooth past center. Now you can see all these names here, they are all customizable per your nomenclature, and we can input nominal and upper lower tolerances at any time. For one other nice thing that is nice about our program 800 is that not only in a production atmosphere is what we can do is for a reverse engineering or benchmarking. If you want to be able to digitize that flute face, all can be possible. Okay, so it can all be done possible with non-contact. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get measurement started. So, but again, what I want to do is just kind of bring your attention again to the lower right-hand corner of the screen is that you are going to see a live view. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and utilize my widgets here. I'm going to reset the program and go ahead and run the tool. So now, taking a look at the measurement sequence, what you're going to see here is going to be as a tooltip search. Tooltip search is important because it could be very possible that the operator could have a little bit of inconsistency in how the tools are loaded into the spindle. Well, we want to engineer that error out of the process, so that's why we do a tooltip search first. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into a 2D measurement to kind of give us kind of like a rough focus, so to say. And then we're going to dive into is there our 3D camera. And with our 3D camera is going to be that unit here in the center. You're going to see that it is a 200 power magnification is what you currently see on the left side of the software. And you're going to see that it's going to be automatically detecting surfaces and also doing auto edge detection to measure distances. A couple things that you're going to see while the machine is running in reference to our LED ring. You're going to see those lights pick different positions all throughout the measurements, which can be customizable to give you that optimal light settings for that particular measurement. Moving forward here, what we're going to be doing is so now we're going to be moving the measuring the radial relief angle. This is a surface measurement. So what this is doing is, as you can see, it's going through and taking pictures all the way down the actual relief angle or over the clearance angle. So basically what this is going to do, it's not only going to tell us the measurement, but it's also capturing that point cloud data to give us a good visual representation to say, is this a facet grind or an eccentric relief? Now, kind of moving into the next measurement here, we have is our tooth width. So our tooth width is going to be a distance measurement. And this is basically going to be based upon the contrast of the edge. So you're going to see the different light settings be represented here on this measurements where we had all of them on the first one, but now on the back side we're only utilizing one to get a true representation of where that flute heel is. Now moving over to our radial rake angle, this is where it's important to utilize that focus. So now we are exactly at 90 degrees to the actual cutting edge. And as you can see there, it is scanning down the tool. And it's taking images, and it's going to be only focusing in within that measurement window. And that measurement window can be determined either by with the depth, a percentage of the diameter, and also the tangent method. Now moving into the core diameter is where we can, this is where we're going to measure the core. Again, not only does it provide the core, but also in the same measurement, it's going to provide you the flute depth as well, should that be your desired measurement. But the beautiful thing about this is that what that is going to do, it's always going to find the lowest point of that core. So whether it's 2 flute, 3 flute, 4 flute, doesn't really matter. This could be a regrind tool, so if you are requalifying that rake face and you do bring that tool down a little bit lower, this machine will find that lowest point of the core. Now moving over to the top here, one thing that our traditional customers are going to see right now on the screen is how fast that optic carrier moved up and that B axis came down. Great improvement over on the axis speed there to really reduce that cycle time in the inspection. You can see here now we are utilizing the center offset cutting edge alignment feature. Now that's going to level off that gash, and you can see there it did provide a 66 micron value. It is a positive value, so that tells me that it's ahead of center. If it was a negative value, then it would be behind center. We are measuring the axial relief now, as you can see there right at the next to the flute. The nice thing about this is where I can measure this axial clearance now wherever I would like. I don't have to be near the periphery like I could be, like I had to be with your traditional vision systems. The nice thing about that is that, let's just say if I did have an issue out in the field, maybe I was rubbing a little bit towards the center. Well, I can pick and choose how many different measurement windows I want to kind of really dive down into the troubleshooting of where that tool may be rubbing. We are measuring an axial land width here. So we're just going to pick one point on the cutting edge, and now one really beautiful transition between the primary and secondary clearance. And this is our last measurement here is going to be our cutting edge over our center, our long tooth pass center. So this one here is going to generate an intersect point based upon the cutting edge and now where that notch is being measured at right now. Okay. And now that the machine is done, it's going to now bring us back into the starting position here. And then what we can do is that, if you had any nominal values, upper lower tolerances values, it's going to let us know kind of right away off to the right hand side here. So you can see this for very quickly if we have a good pass fail. If it was all green, good. If it was bad, we need to make some adjustments. So let's just say if you're not really in a production atmosphere, and again, you are doing some benchmarking, trying to reproduce the OEM grinds if you are in the regrind facility. What we can do is that, we can take a look at the tool and say, okay, yeah, I think that clearance is eccentric or it could be facet. But what we can do is that in our Genius tool analysis here, we can actually take a look at our surface measurements here. So if I go back to my widgets and pull up my Genius tool analysis here, what that's going to do, it's actually going to pull up as my point cloud data here. So now I can actually see here what those particular measurements are, and it will provide them for all those 3 areas that we did measure those surfaces on, whether it's the chip space, the circumference, and the end teeth diameter. So now, if we take a look at the tool here, we can see what our rake face here looks like. We can see that we are, about a 19 degrees positive rake. You can really see that curve and that hook. If we go over to our OD and our relief angle, we can see that we measured that relief there. It is a nice straight linear grind, so that is a facet. And same thing with our end teeth here as well. We can see that again, it is a nice linear grind. Now, one other nice thing that is beautiful about this Genius tool analysis here is that I can actually take a look at the 3D rendering of the measurement. So if I go into the measurement, take a look at the 3D, it's just not going to be a point cloud data, but now I can actually see the actual image. Okay, so if we go past our topographical report here, now I can actually see the actual scan on the surface of the tool. So this gives me a good idea of how that measurement was performed. It's a really nice, beautiful feature here, if you ever needed to do that additional verification. So what I would like to do is, actually at this point here, this is kind of the end of my my presentation as far as to show you the new and latest and greatest updates for the hardware and for the software here. So again, I'd like to thank you for your time. It was really my honor in order to show this, present this machine to you. And say, Cody, I don't know if we have any more questions at this time.
Yep, we sure do. Just one though. So okay. Matt, you showed the measuring results. As a tooling manufacturer, is there a way to export or print this specific data?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we can do is that we can go to our report. So after we go through and pull this up, you can see here this is a list of all the features that are required for this certification here. Now again, within this report, we can rename them for your nomenclature, put in your upper and lower tolerances. But what we can do is that we can either print this out, and then I can actually have this paper, this piece of paper that certifies this tool. This is like gold, and this is nice to have. Or we can even save this as a PDF Excel, and we can also email it out if you choose to use the green option. Excuse me.
Well, Matt, that's all the questions we have. So I definitely want to thank you. It's always a pleasure watching you run the machine. So we're going to actually go ahead and continue on. And for those of you who are current Zoller users, we hope that today's overview kind of shows you some of the differences and improvements in our Genius machine. And for those of you who might not be Zoller users, we hope that this showed you, the robust machine build for fast, accurate measurements. Also, the user-friendly design to have easy access to everything. And of course, the ease of use with the software, having those macro programs, having measuring program 800 to guide the operator step by step with how to measure any parameters that you would want to. So a little bit earlier, Werner mentioned a little bit about the history of the Genius machine. So Werner, I'd like to have you back on the screen. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the future.
Thanks, Cody. Yeah, we talked about the past earlier. Let's look in the future. I mean, Zoller's success was always based on the fact that we don't look at our machines as standalone units. We look how to implement them into the bigger environment for the great benefit of the customer. So basically, the 4.0 vision. So on the software side, what that means is our interfaces to our partners for grinding machines. Let me do a big shout out to Anker, Straussack and Holomatic, Warmer and Star. And before I forget, we have machines, here this one, sitting at Anker and Wixom, Holomatic, Straussack in Mundelein, Illinois, and of course Warmer in Pittsburgh. So what these partnerships are about is really making our mutual customer more stronger, more successful, more effective on the market. Then, of course, we have the automation side, which would mean our RoboSet. Yep. Cody.
Yeah, I can shed a little bit of light on that.
Thank you.
First, I also want to, explain a little bit more about the partnerships. I mean, Again, big thanks. You know, we here at Zoller, although this is a great machine, standalone, you know, we don't want to just stop there. We want to be a full solutions provider, and our partners do an excellent job with putting in the dedication on helping us day to day with the developments and with the testing. That way we can have very smooth interfaces. And along with that, of course, like you said, when we talk about providing a whole solution, we have our automation. So our RoboSet 2, our new RoboSet 2, when I talk about automation, you know, it's not just loading a tool in, unloading a tool. This is really 24/7, 100% tool inspection. So basically what we can do is have a robotic arm, take a tool out of a pallet, put it into a cleaning machine, put it into a drying machine, then load it into our Genius spindle. And as you just saw, we can get 100% automatic inspection of all the cutting geometries. Then the robotic arm could unload the tool, put it in a laser marker, and then put it into a good or an out of tolerance pallet if you would want all those bells and whistles. So it's really, when we talk about the future, this is the technology that we're wanting to help showcase, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Well explained, Cody. Thank you.
Yep. So Werner, go ahead, and I'm going to continue on. So now, before we close up, there's a couple things I do want to go over before we hop off here. One main thing is, how do you get more information on certain products like the Genius, and also, you know, how can we help support you with this? So probably the easiest way would be to go to our website, which is www.zoller-usa.com. And as soon as you go to the website, a chat function is going to pop up at the bottom right-hand side of the screen. You can simply ask, hey, I need some information. I would like a demonstration. I want a Zoller rep to reach out to me so we can have a phone conversation. And this would be the best start. Then what we can do is put you in touch with your respected Zoller representative. Zoller has the country broken out into 18 different regions, and each of those 18 different regions has their own dedicated sales personnel and service personnel. So sales personnel will be able to help you out with things like, let's say, demonstrations. How can we do this? There's multiple different ways. We could either do live stream virtual events. That way, you know, we're live, we're virtual, you don't have to leave the office, but you can still interact, ask any questions that you might have. We can do on-site demos. We have what's called Zoller on Tour vans, many of us out in the field. And we have specific products that we can actually bring right to your facility on your shop floor with your tools, and we can give live on-site demonstrations. And then of course we have machines here at our Industry 4.0 Tech Center that we can do both, either live virtual, or we would love to have you in, invite you in. You could see the machines firsthand, you could see the softwares firsthand, and you can also even send your tools up and we could do R&R testing. Werner and Matt, they're a great asset and they're a great help with providing those types of information. On the service side, we have 30+ service application engineers out in the field to help with on-site installations, trainings, so we also have the support out in the field in that as well. If you're in a position to say, hey, you know what, I'd like to pull the trigger and purchase one of these, same deal. You could just go to our website, request a quote, request finance options, because we do have those as well. So please feel free. There's also a lot of content on the website. And I also want to remind you before we get off here that the portal information will remain accessible. So you can just log back in. All of these sessions are recorded. If you have team members, if you have management that didn't have a chance to catch this, or if you just simply liked what you saw today and you want to pass it along, you can have access to those recordings, absolutely no problem. Now that you're registered, you can have access. So without further ado, Matt, Werner, I'd like to invite you back on screen so we can give a final thank you. Everybody, press, customers, potential customers, and partners, thank you very much. Couldn't do this without you. Stay tuned and monitor your inbox. We are going to have many more of these to showcase the different, 4 core products of Zoller. So thank you very much. Until next time.
Thank you.